Hello all, this is John from EastCoastArmory.com, and I'm here today with a model showcase video for this 1/35th scale T28 American Super Heavy Tank. Unlike many of my other smaller scale build videos in which those builds are built for private commission and belong to private collectors, this model here is built for my own collection and is not for sale and or purchase. However, if anyone is interested in a model built to these specs, you can contact me through the email address listed below, which is info@eastcoastarmory.com for pricing and availability information. First, a quick walk around the model. The model itself started off as a 1/35th scale full resin kit from Accurate Armour. Accurate Armour is a Scottish-based model company. Their products are all comprised out of casted resin, white metal, and photo etch. The kit itself is a vintage kit, and the kit was released in the mid-1990s. Back during that time, Accurate Armour had a wide range of full resin kits that were not being produced in any other medium at that time. Accurate Armour is still in business today. However, this kit has been discontinued, more likely due to the release of the plastic version of this tank from Dragon. I have recently just finished off the Dragon 1/35th scale T28, and a video showcase of that model is found on my video listings, as well as pictures posted on Facebook. The model here is built mostly out of the box, however, does feature several aftermarket replacements that I'll be going over in this video. In addition to the other features I'll be discussing, I will also be comparing and contrasting this model to the Dragon 1/35th scale T28, as it's interesting to compare and contrast the two kits together. This model was purchased directly from Accurate Armour back in 2003. The purpose for purchasing the kit at the time was this kit was actually used as a builder's aid for my 1/6 scale T28 Super Heavy Tank, in which I will have a model showcase video on that vehicle coming shortly. While working on the 1/6 scale counterpart, this model here was built and painted and weathered in basically the format that you see here. The tank was built to approximately 98% for completion. However, because of the 1/6 scale version, I went ahead and didn't fully complete this model. Instead, I went ahead and put it in my cabinet, and it sat there waiting for me to finish it off. The model kind of sat forgotten about in the cabinet for several years, and I recently took it out of the cabinet in order to finish it off, since I just finished off the Dragon 1/35th scale T28 that I've discussed earlier. All of the model's paintwork and weathering that you see on this vehicle here was as is from when I built it approximately 10 years ago. Starting with the model's tracks, the tank is equipped with workable track links from AFV Club. For this model, I went ahead and used the T84E1 workable track links. Now, as of note, the real T28 Super Heavy Tank prototype features the steel chevron track, which is utilized on the Pershing. If you notice on this model here, I went ahead and utilized the rubber chevron T84 track. The reason for this was at the time I was building the vehicle, the workable track links from AFV Club with the steel chevron were very hard to come by and were out of production. The only tracks I was able to find at that time that were workable were the track links that you see here. The kit does come with the correct style steel chevron track links, however they are resin Lincoln length tracks, and like I mentioned in my other videos, are not a medium that I prefer working with tracks. Starting with the front of the vehicle, we have here the headlights. Now, unlike the Dragon kit, in which the headlight brush guards are made out of plastic, on the Accurate Armour model here, they're actually made out of photo etch brass. They're very nicely done and very nicely shaped. The headlights that you see on this model here are not the kit originals. The kit original headlights were lost and misplaced during the time the tank sat idle. The headlights that you see here are actually casted in clear resin and were made from a mold that I made from a spare headlight that I had left over from the last T28 Super Heavy Tank project from Dragon. Moving on to the crane. Currently the cranes are not glued on. This is because while I was building the 1/6 scale counterpart, I needed to have the cranes off so I can see just how the cranes would mount to the fenders. Like I mentioned in the other T28 video, on the real T28, to aid with the removal of the side skirts and the track, the crane can be fitted to any of these locations here in order to aid with the track side skirt removal and installation. On the front of the T28, there are several of these milling machine style bosses. They are found on each fender and are a mirror image of each other. On the back, they are simply found in this location here on either side of the engine hatch. Most likely, once filming is concluded, I will go ahead and white glue the cranes to the model in their appropriate locations. Now, one difference from the Accurate Armour to the Dragon kit is that of the cranes. The cranes, in my opinion, on the Accurate Armour model are much better than the stock cranes, as they have a lot more detailing to them that was omitted on the Dragon. Not only do they have their manual winch mechanism, but they also have the electric motor component, which is missing on the Dragon kit. They also have the provisions for hooking up the pulley, as well as the rigging for the pulley. These two are features that are missing on the Dragon kit. Now, like I mentioned before, this model was used as a builder's aid for my 1/6 scale project, and one of the features that I modified on this kit here is that I went ahead and modified the entire side section here to be removed from the hull, just like on the real tank, in order for me to understand how the clamping system functioned on the real tank. On this model here, it's facilitated by two small machine screws, one on the front lug and another one on the rear lug here in the back. By using a small screwdriver, I could go ahead and remove these two screws, which will allow me to remove the entire side panel that you see here. And once removed, it looks something like this. With the screws removed, the entire fender is removable, allowing you to get access to the suspension on both the lower hull as well as on the side skirt itself. Now, this is one portion of the Accurate Armour kit which is far superior than that of the Dragons. The Accurate Armour kit is more accurate with their depiction of the tank in its transport mode. First, we'll see here on the fender, it has the accurate thickness for the front armored glacis plate. As we can see, it is very substantially thick, which is what one would expect for a tank weighing about 95 tons. Also, we can get to see here the little bulkhead that descends down from the top portion here of the side. This portion here is missing on the Dragon kit. And finally, one of the best pieces, or the most accurate pieces on the Accurate Armour model, is that of the drive sprocket itself. The drive sprocket on this model here is the drive sprocket which is found on the T28 Super Heavy Tank. Now, as we can see, one downside of using the AFV Club tracks is that the timing doesn't quite match with that of the Accurate Armour sprocket. However, if a different brand of track is used, I believe the timing would match better. The Sprocket Design that's on the Dragon kit. Dragon, like I mentioned in the other video, took a shortcut and utilized the standard Sherman HVSS drive sprockets for this purpose here. On the T28 Super Heavy tank, those drive sprockets were not utilized. Instead, a design of its own type was used in its place. The T28 sprockets are actually larger. They have more teeth, and the hub is a lot different compared to that of the Shermans. Unfortunately, it's hard to get into frame. Also, as we can see on the chassis portion, that the drive sprocket has a flanged ring here with fasteners. The purpose of this flanged ring is that it is for the coupling of the side skirt track once it's mated to the vehicle. As for the suspension itself, the vehicle utilizes a cast white metal suspension with resin road wheels. The suspension is very durable and is very nicely done. In addition to the suspension, the support columns are also made in white metal. In addition to having these details here, the kit also supplies you with the rest of the details and with the literature required in order to represent this tank properly in the transport mode. This would also include several other rods and linkages, as well as the U-hooks and the cabling required in order to facilitate the assembly of the transport track trailer that would be towed behind the tank. These features are just not present with the Dragon kit. As I mentioned before in the other video, the Dragon kit is really meant to be assembled in battle mode. Before I go ahead and reconnect the side, I'll illustrate on how the tank would get put into the transport mode. Now, first off, we see here these two drums that are on top of the tank. Like I mentioned before, a lot of people are unaware, but these pieces would be the brakes in order to prevent the trailer from crashing into the rear of the tank if going down a hill. They would be removed from these locations here via bolts and then bolted to the inside ring of the sprocket. This would be done on either side skirt. The side skirt section would be removed from this portion here of the vehicle, and small little pegs would then connect to the various portions here of the lower portion of the fender or side skirt. And then these two rods here would actually connect to these two portions on the front, or on the rear and front of the fenders. Once bolted together, the two skirts here would create a trailer. And this trailer was unpowered and didn't have the brakes, thus what was the purpose of the drums. There would be a U-hook on the one rod here, which would then go down, loop around the sprocket, and extend towards the rear of the vehicle, in which a group of men would grab onto the ropes to add friction to the drum, which would in turn slow down the side skirt and prevent it from crashing into the tank. Obviously, this system is very archaic and probably would not have carried over if the tank would have been adopted into service and would have progressed past its prototype phase. To reconnect the skirt to the tank center, I go ahead and line up the pegs, slide it in, and then just retighten the fasteners with my screwdriver. With the side skirt re-bolted onto the tank, I continue with the video. All the components that you see here, including the tools, as well as several of the lift leg components, are also comprised out of white metal and are nicely done for the medium. Many of the details that you see on here are also missing from the Dragon kit, namely the tow cable mounting equipment. These little brackets that you see here are photo etch and come with the Accurate Armour kit. It is true for both sides. Also supplied with the Accurate Armour model that is missing on the Dragon is that of the siren. The kit gives you both the siren and the brush metal, or the photo etch brass brush guard that you see here fitted. Another detail that is missing on the Dragon kit is that of the track ratchets that you see here. These ratchets connect to the teeth here or the end connectors on the track and are used by the crew to ratchet them together under tension in order to add or remove the end connector. These components here are casted in white metal and are missing on the Dragon kit. However, the Dragon kit does give you the provisions to mount them, as the Dragon kit is simply modeled with these components not installed. Like all American tanks, the tank features an M2HB 50 caliber machine gun. The machine gun that you see here is not the Accurate Armour included piece. The Accurate Armour gun was, I believe, made out of white metal. However, I went ahead and replaced it with one from AFV Club that was sitting in my spare parts bin. Purpose of using the AFV Club machine gun is that it's a lot lighter on the resin mount and is also a lot more detailed than the original gun that came with the tank. The AFV Club gun was simply built out of the box and assembled to the state that you see here. Another component that the Accurate Armour kit has that's a little bit better than the Dragon kit is that of the ring 50 caliber trolley that we see here. The gun mount that would roll on this 50 caliber ring here is a lot more detailed than the one that comes on the Dragon kit, as the Dragon kit one is a very basic piece and could use improvement. Moving down from the 50 caliber takes us to the MP65 antenna bases. These pieces come stock with the Accurate Armour kit. As we can see, just like with all MP65s, if anyone's modeling them, the bottom portion of the MP65 is actually made out of an amber porcelain, while the stem is actually a flexible rubber. These features have been painted into the model that you see here. Moving our way to the tank's gun takes us first to the mantlet. The mantlet on the Accurate Armour kit is also very nicely done. It has nice shape to it, has some beautiful cast texturing, and it has the two little Phillips screw detailing that's actually missing on the Dragon kit. Unlike the Dragon model, in which the gun can only go up and down, on the Accurate Armour tank, the gun can go up and down and also left and right. Moving our way further up the gun barrel, the barrel itself on the Accurate Armour model is actually made out of casted resin. Like the rest of the Accurate Armour full resin kits, the barrel is solid resin, however, does have a steel rod molded into the barrel, which will prevent the barrel from warping over time. Keep in mind, this kit here was built over 10 years ago, and the castings themselves are probably older than that, and the barrel is still completely true to when it was first casted. Moving past the barrel takes us to the tank's muzzle brake. The muzzle brake on this model here is also one of the better portions of the model and is also better than the version represented on the Dragon kit. The muzzle brake that you see here is made out of casted white metal and features its correct shape, as well as baffle designs that on the Dragon kit are lacking. And here go the models compared side by side. This one here is the Dragon 1/35 scale plastic kit, and this one here is the kit from Accurate Armour. The Dragon kit is slightly longer and appears to be slightly wider than the Accurate Armour piece, however, by not that much. We compare widths. Taking the camera off the tripod really quick, I could compare the lengths. The heights are also very similar to each other. As you can see with the two kits compared side by side, that even though this model here is considerably older than this model here, the amount of homework and research done by Accurate Armour to create this kit still prevents it from aging too badly when compared to its modern counterpart. Now, however, when it comes to building and finishing the model, the Dragon kit is a lot easier to build and put together compared to the Accurate Armour, for the simple fact that the Dragon kit is a plastic model kit, while the Accurate Armour model is a full resin kit. A lot of model makers out there feel uncomfortable with working with resin, as resin requires a certain type of skill set that a lot of model builders don't have. Another thing to watch out for is that the Dragon kit, being plastic, it's a lot lighter compared to the clunky, heavier feel of the Accurate Armour model. The Dragon kit is also a lot less fragile compared to the resin that the Accurate Armour model is casted in. One thing though I would like to see, especially if Accurate Armour is watching this video, is that even though this tank here is currently out of production, a lot of the components that are on this model here are compatible with the Dragon model and can really improve the look of the DML kit. Namely components like the gun muzzle, the cranes, as well as the photo etch and headlight features. Since Accurate Armour has all these molds on hand, it's not too hard for them to release them as a detail upgrade for the Dragon kit. And that concludes this model showcase video for this 1/35 scale American T28 Super Heavy Tank. If you like this video, stop by and like us on Facebook, and don't forget to check out eastcoastarmory.com for more 1/6 and 1/16 scale builds and detail components. Thank you.